Have you ever noticed how everything around you is designed to hold your attention, but almost nothing is designed to hold your soul? We live in an age where pleasure is instant, infinite, and everywhere. A world where every flick of your thumb summons a microdose of satisfaction. It's a kind of magic trick, one that promises connection, entertainment, and escape all in the same breath. But behind the curtain, there's a quiet tragedy unfolding. We are overdosing on comfort and starving for meaning. Human beings once sought pleasure as a reward. Now we seek it as a refuge from boredom, from discomfort, from thought itself. Pleasure was once a byproduct of living well. Today, it's the product. You can feel it when you wake up and reach for your phone before your own thoughts can form. You can feel it in the endless scroll through news, videos, and curated snippets of other people's lives. Each one a tiny hit of dopamine, a digital whisper saying, "Stay a little longer." The irony is, the more pleasure we consume, the less joy we seem to feel. Like drinking salt water to quench thirst, our minds crave more stimulation even as it leaves us emptier. What once felt satisfying now feels hollow. What once entertained us now numbs us. This is the tyranny of pleasure, a quiet dictatorship of dopamine that governs not by force, but by desire. And the scariest part? We voted for it. What if the thing that makes you comfortable is also the thing that keeps you controlled? Throughout history, the pursuit of comfort has been one of humanity's greatest achievements. We conquered nature, built machines, and created technologies to make life easier. But at some point, easier became effortless. And that changed everything. Our ancestors fought for survival. We fight boredom. And yet, boredom might be the more dangerous opponent. Because boredom drives us toward distraction. And distraction is where thought goes to die. Comfort has become a currency of control. Not through conspiracy, but through psychology. The more we are surrounded by pleasure, the less we resist. When life feels good enough, we stop questioning why it feels empty. We stop asking whether the comfort we're buying is worth the cost of our clarity. Take a simple example: social media. It offers connection but breeds isolation. It offers expression but rewards conformity. It feels empowering, yet it quietly trains us to seek approval rather than authenticity. Pleasure becomes the leash, and attention becomes the collar. The most powerful systems today don't need to censor ideas. They only need to drown them in noise. They don't silence the thinker. They distract the thinker until he forgets what he was thinking about. And so, in this age of endless stimulation, the greatest danger is not pain, it's pleasure. Because pain wakes you up. Pleasure, when abused, puts you to sleep. When was the last time you were truly bored? Not impatient, not distracted, but bored in the way that forces your mind to wander? Boredom used to be a gateway to imagination. It was the space between thoughts where creativity was born. Artists, philosophers, and scientists once cherished stillness because it gave birth to insight. But now, we've exterminated boredom like a pest. We fill every moment of silence with sound, every pause with pixels. We stream podcasts in the shower, scroll during meals, and watch videos to fall asleep. We are terrified of being alone with our thoughts because they might reveal how empty our stimulation truly is. But here's the paradox. The death of boredom is also the death of depth. When the mind is constantly fed, it never hungers. And without hunger, there is no discovery. Boredom is not a defect of modern life. It's a symptom of an underused mind trying to find itself again. In silence, we confront the raw materials of thought. Anxiety, curiosity, restlessness. It's uncomfortable, but it's where originality begins. The more we avoid boredom, the more we avoid ourselves. And the more we avoid ourselves, the more we become addicted to the noise that keeps us numb. In this way, our fear of boredom becomes our quiet addiction. We are overstimulated, underwhelmed, and utterly disconnected from the inner life that once defined what it meant to be human. Have you ever wondered if your desires are truly yours, or if they were planted there? In the past, we pursued what we desired. Now, we are told what to desire. The machine doesn't just sell products, it sells identities. Every click, like, and swipe teaches algorithms who we are, or rather, who we're willing to become. Your tastes, your opinions, your dreams. They are all quietly shaped by invisible forces designed to predict and manipulate. What feels like choice is often choreography. The platform gives you what you want, but only so it can keep you coming back for what it wants. Your time, your data, your attention. The echo chamber doesn't just trap ideas, it traps identity. The more we engage, the narrower our world becomes. We stop seeking truth and start seeking confirmation. The feed becomes a mirror that only reflects what we already believe. And yet we crave it. We crave the validation, the outrage, the belonging. Because deep down, the pleasure of being right feels safer than the discomfort of being wrong. But here's the hidden cost. When we stop challenging our minds, we stop evolving them. In this way, distraction doesn't just make us passive, it makes us predictable. And predictability is the end of freedom. What happens to a civilization when it confuses stimulation for satisfaction? We are living in a time of unprecedented comfort, yet unprecedented emptiness. Depression, anxiety, and loneliness are rising, not because life is harder, but because meaning is harder to find. We've traded depth for dopamine, reflection for reaction, and contemplation for consumption. The philosopher Soren Kierkegaard once warned that boredom is the root of all evil. But if he lived today, he might have revised that distraction is the root of all emptiness. Because distraction isn't just a behavior, it's a worldview. It's a lens that blurs the line between living and merely existing. We've built a society that celebrates constant engagement but punishes contemplation. We call someone productive when they're busy, not when they're thoughtful. We value immediacy over integrity, novelty over nuance. And in doing so, we've created a world where everything moves, but nothing changes. But there's hope in awareness. Because once you begin to see the machine, you begin to step outside it. The first act of rebellion is not to delete your apps or move to a cabin in the woods. It's to pause, to look around, to recognize that every moment of distraction is an opportunity for attention, and every act of attention is an act of freedom. The tyranny of pleasure ends where awareness begins. Pleasure didn't always rule us. Once it was a teacher, a companion to wisdom, not an enemy of it. To understand how we got here, we must travel back in time, to when philosophers and poets first asked the question that still haunts us today. What does it mean to live well? What if our obsession with pleasure is not a symptom of the modern world, but a story as old as humanity itself? Long before smartphones and dopamine hits, philosophers sat in quiet courtyards asking the same question we're still wrestling with today. What is the good life? For Plato, the answer wasn't pleasure, it was truth. He believed that pleasure could deceive, that it was the shadow of something deeper. To him, the senses were like a cave, filled with illusions dancing on the wall, while truth existed only outside, in the blinding light of reason. His student Aristotle was more forgiving. He saw pleasure as part of a balanced life, a reward for virtue, not the goal of it. To Aristotle, a good life wasn't about rejecting pleasure, but about mastering it. He warned that when pleasure becomes the purpose of life, it ceases to be pleasurable at all. It becomes hunger disguised as satisfaction. Then came Epicurus, often misunderstood as the philosopher of indulgence. In truth, Epicurus preached simplicity. A piece of bread, a glass of water, and good conversation were, to him, the height of pleasure. His school taught that true happiness comes from the absence of pain, not the endless pursuit of pleasure. Pleasure, he said, must be tamed, or it will tame you. Centuries later, the Stoics would take an even sterner stance. For Seneca and Marcus Aurelius, pleasure was the most seductive of enemies. They believed that dependence on comfort makes the soul fragile, that a person who cannot endure discomfort is a person who cannot be free. Freedom, they said, is found not in abundance, but in restraint. And yet, as time marched on, something began to shift. The Enlightenment, with its faith in reason and progress, reimagined pleasure as a right. The rise of science and medicine promised to eliminate pain, both physical and emotional. By the 20th century, this ancient moral question, should we pursue pleasure, was replaced with a new one, why wouldn't we? And so began the modern experiment. If pain is the enemy, then pleasure must be the cure. Pills, screens, and systems were built not to help us endure life, but to make it feel endlessly bearable. What began as philosophy had become pharmacology. What began as virtue had become industry. Happiness used to be a mystery. Then we turned it into a product. The modern age did something radical. It outsourced joy. What was once an inner experience became an external pursuit, something to be bought, measured, and sold. Capitalism didn't just sell goods, it sold feelings. And the feeling it promised most seductively was happiness. In the 19th century, the Industrial Revolution transformed the world of labor, but quietly, it also transformed the world of leisure. Machines made production faster, cheaper, and more abundant. But abundance required appetite. The market needed not only producers, but perpetual consumers. And so began a grand cultural project to convince people that happiness could be purchased. The early advertisers understood something profound about human psychology, that we don't buy things for what they are, we buy them for what they promise. A bar of soap was no longer just soap, it was purity. A car wasn't just a vehicle, it was freedom. A brand wasn't just a product, it was identity. As industrialization grew, so did the industries of emotion. By the 20th century, consumer capitalism had perfected its art. It turned pleasure into propaganda. Happiness became the new moral ideal, so much so that to be unhappy felt almost unpatriotic. The American dream promised that every citizen had the right to pursue happiness, but it quietly redefined what happiness meant. It was no longer peace of mind or virtue of character. It was material success, social status, and endless novelty. And with every new invention, radio, cinema, television, the internet, the machinery of happiness became more sophisticated. Pleasure became scalable. Joy became a metric. And meaning became marketing. The philosopher Herbert Marcuse once warned that modern society would enslave not through oppression, but through satisfaction. People wouldn't rebel because they wouldn't want to. They'd be too comfortable to notice their chains. And he was right. The industrial age promised freedom, but it delivered dependency on comfort, on consumption, and on the constant stimulation that keeps us docile and distracted. How did leisure, a time once meant for reflection, turn into one of the greatest tools of distraction? Leisure was once sacred. The ancient Greeks called it skol, a word that gave us school. For them, leisure wasn't idleness. It was the highest state of being. It was time devoted to philosophy, art, friendship, and self-cultivation. It was through leisure that humans became more fully human. But something shifted in the modern age. As productivity became the measure of worth, leisure turned into escape. We no longer rest to restore ourselves. We rest to forget ourselves. The weekend became an anesthetic for the workweek. In the 20th century, entertainment evolved from pastime to profit. Hollywood learned how to sell dreams. Television learned how to capture evenings. Video games learned how to capture hours. And social media, it learned how to capture you. The great irony is that we believe we are choosing our pleasures, but our pleasures are often choosing us. Every form of entertainment is now optimized not for joy, but for engagement. Algorithms learn the contours of our curiosity, then feed us just enough stimulation to keep us scrolling, watching, consuming. What used to be leisure has become labor for the attention economy. We are not the customers, we are the product. And the more time we spend relaxing, the more value we create for systems that profit from our distraction. Addiction today wears the mask of leisure. It looks harmless, even wholesome. A few more minutes, one more episode, one more scroll. But beneath the surface, it rewires our brains to crave ease and avoid effort, to seek stimulation rather than satisfaction. The result? A generation that knows how to consume pleasure, but not how to sustain it. And that's the tragedy. When everything becomes entertainment, nothing feels truly enjoyable anymore. Pleasure loses its texture, like sugar after too many bites. What if the thing we've been running from, the pain, the struggle, the boredom, is the very thing that gives life meaning? For most of human history, discomfort wasn't something to avoid, it was something to overcome. It was through discomfort that we built civilizations, learned patience, and forged character. Every culture had rituals of challenge, pilgrimages, fasts, apprenticeships, not to punish, but to purify. Modernity changed that. It replaced pilgrimage with convenience, challenge with comfort, meaning with mood. We build a world where everything works faster, easier, smoother. But in doing so, we removed friction, and with it, the sense of purpose that comes from effort. Think of how we once related to struggle. A mountain was something to climb, not photograph. A book was something to wrestle with, not summarize. A relationship was something to nurture, not replace. Discomfort was the crucible of depth. It's what made moments matter. Psychologists today call this the hedonic treadmill. The more we pursue pleasure, the faster it fades. Each high becomes the baseline for the next. But meaning works differently. Meaning endures precisely because it often costs something: time, effort, sacrifice. Pain gives value to pleasure, just as darkness gives meaning to light. We've forgotten that happiness and hardship are not opposites, they're partners. The most fulfilling moments of our lives are rarely the easiest ones. They're the ones that test us, shape us, and awaken us. The philosopher Viktor Frankl, who survived the horrors of a concentration camp, wrote that what humans need is not a tension-free state, but attention toward something, a goal, a purpose, a reason to endure. Those who have a why to live, he said, can bear almost any how. Discomfort gives us that why. Without it, life flattens. It becomes safe, smooth, sterile. The world of endless pleasure is not a utopia, it's a padded cell. So perhaps the way forward is not to eliminate discomfort, but to relearn it. To embrace it as the soil where growth takes root. To remember that every great act of creation, every breakthrough, every transformation, was born not from pleasure, but from pain. Pleasure, once a teacher, has become tyrant. It promised happiness, but delivered dependency. And in that dependency, something else began to erode, not just our capacity for struggle, but our capacity for thought. In the next chapter, we'll explore how the pursuit of stimulation has led to the collapse of one of humanity's greatest strengths, our ability to think deeply. We've never had more access to knowledge, and never felt less wise. The modern human lives in a storm of information. Every day, we consume more data than a person in the 18th century might have encountered in a lifetime. Notifications, headlines, emails, videos, podcasts. Our minds are flooded with fragments of meaning, each competing for attention. And yet, for all our connection, we are drowning in disconnection. Information, once a path to enlightenment, has become a source of confusion. Knowledge, once rare and valuable, has become disposable. The philosopher Neil Postman warned of this decades ago, calling ours a technopoly, a culture that worships information for its own sake. He predicted that one day we would be amusing ourselves to death, and he was right. Because when everything becomes content, nothing becomes context. We scroll through ideas without digesting them. We react before reflecting. We've mistaken access for understanding, volume for depth. We confuse being informed with being intelligent. The irony is that the very tools that promised to democratize knowledge have instead fragmented it. The internet was supposed to connect us to wisdom. Instead, it has connected us to noise. Every click, every post, every search is a neuron in a vast digital brain, but one without a soul. It processes, it calculates, it remembers, but it doesn't understand. And the more we emulate that machine, the more we risk losing what makes us human, the ability to think beyond the data. Insight doesn't come from information. It comes from interpretation, from slowing down, questioning, connecting dots. But in a world that rewards speed, slowness feels like failure. And so we skim the surface of life, mistaking movement for meaning. In the end, it's not that we lack information. It's that we lack digestion. We are overfed with data, but starving for wisdom. In the 21st century, the most valuable resource on Earth isn't oil, gold, or data. It's your attention. Attention is what every screen, platform, and brand is fighting for. Not to inform you, but to own you. Your attention is the fuel that powers the digital economy, the invisible currency that keeps the machine alive. Think about it. Every free app, every free platform, every endless feed. None of it is truly free. The product isn't the software. The product is you. And what they're selling isn't your money. It's your mind. The economist Herbert Simon foresaw this in the 1970s. He said, "A wealth of information creates a poverty of attention." The more information we produce, the scarcer attention becomes. And in the modern economy, scarcity equals value. That's why every headline screams, every video hooks, every notification buzzes. The world is not competing for your money. It's competing for your mind share. But the human brain wasn't built for this. For millions of years, attention was our survival mechanism. It kept us alive in a world of predators and storms. But now, that ancient system is being hijacked by algorithms that know how to trigger it better than we do. Every like, every ping, every you might also like, is a microdose of validation. It's the same neural circuitry that once rewarded our ancestors for finding food or safety. But now, it rewards us for finding nothing. Just another fleeting hit of novelty. Attention has become fragmented. We no longer give ourselves fully to anything. Not a conversation, not a thought, not even a moment. We multitask our way through existence, mistaking stimulation for progress. But multitasking isn't thinking, it's scattering. The cost is profound. Because where attention goes, identity follows. If we cannot hold our attention, we cannot hold a coherent self. To think critically, to reason deeply, to create meaning, all of it depends on the ability to stay. Stay with the question. Stay with the discomfort. Stay long enough to understand, not just react. But in a world where every second of silence is an opportunity for distraction, staying feels almost impossible. And so we trade our autonomy for convenience, our awareness for ease. The empire of distraction doesn't conquer through violence. It conquers through comfort. We scroll willingly into servitude,